Ma'am, am I audible now?
Yes, you are, Samyukta.
Yes. Greetings to our principal, Dr. S. Kode, ma'am, Deans Dr. T. Punidavati, ma'am, aided, and Dr. Anusha Bala Singh, ma'am, self-supporting, teachers, and my fellow students. I am R. Samyukta from Accounting and Finance, and it gives me immense pleasure in presenting the welcome speech. The topic for today's webinar is soft skills required for a job interview, and the speaker for today's topic is Mrs. Uma Parvati, ma'am, who completed her BA and MA English Literature in Etiraj College. She was the former vice principal of Maharishi Vidya Mandir Senior Secondary School during the year 1990 to 2008. Her project titled Hiroshima, done during the training, was selected as one of the best projects in the country. Her project has been incorporated in the companion CD for the binders used by Intel to train teachers all over India. Through this webinar, an individual is given a platform to gain understanding, focus on essential aspects, and necessary communication skills. I ensure the webinar will be profitable and fruitful for everyone present here. We're greatly honored in welcoming our own college alumni as our speaker for the webinar conducted by Alumni Connect League. We welcome you, ma'am. Uma, ma'am, I request you to take over.
Thank you, Samyukta, for that wonderful speech. Good morning, Principal, the Dean, members of the Etiraj College Committee, the teaching faculty, students, and others who are joined in for this webinar. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to be back here in my own college where I began way back in 1980. And it gives me immense pleasure that I'm able to do it. Had it been offline, I would have been even more grateful, but I consider this an honor to be able to address the students. So to start off, the topic that I'm going to be dealing with today is soft skills required for a job interview. Now, most of you must be thinking of going on to start your career soon after your college studies are over. So in order to do so, we need to be prepared. It is such a competitive world today, and therefore we need to be well equipped in order to be able to compete with so many others out in the world. So, Samyukta, can I start my presentation now?
Yes, ma'am.
So, are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. So, like I was talking to you earlier, it's all about how to attend an interview, how to equip ourselves to be able to attend an interview and succeed in that. Now, every young prospect would be called for a face-to-face interview at some point of in his or her career. This is definitely great news indeed, especially when it is for the first time. But then here's the catch. You should be well prepared, say the right things to be able to eventually get the job. It's like being out in the space not knowing where to go. So appearing at an interview can prove to be a daunting experience for the first timers. But it's not just for the first timers, for anyone for that matter, unless they are very experienced. So it can be very intimidating or nerve wracking too. Now, being excited and nervous at the same time, we may end up saying things which are not in context or not saying things which matter the most. And remember that interviews are often used as an initial screening tool to narrow down the list of applicants, which means we need to be even more careful, doubly sure. Now, if you were to take a look at this picture, you see here that we are going in search of a job for which you need to be properly qualified. You need to have a good resume, which is another topic all by itself. Preparing a resume is very, very important, how you present yourself, because there it's the words that speak for you and not yourself. Therefore, resume is very, very important. And of course, the application for the job. Now, even as you are going in for a job search, you need to set goals for yourself. Is this the right job that I am going to go to? And where am I going to go from here? What is the ladder that I will be climbing? So what are my goals? And on the left side of the screen, we have the interview. And during the interview, what are the things that people are looking for? Looking for your skill combined with your talent and then your experience. Even if you are a fresher, you must have some knowledge about where you're going to work and what kind of situations you will be facing, for which you need to be updated. So if you see the top left of the screen, we have the news. You need to get ideas, for which you need education. And if you see the bottom left, you see that there are so many candidates. Like I said, it's a tough world, it's a competitive world. So there'll be so many candidates there. So what you need to do, you need to work out strategies. See, remember, one thing is to be always yourself. When I talk about strategy, it's not about how to pull someone down or things like that, but how to improve yourself. Work out strategies that will improve you, your character, your attitude, and will build your experience. Now, in the next slide here, I have got a few skills. Now, these are some of the important skills. There are so many other soft skills that you need to improve, but these are just some of the most important ones. Let's take a look at what an employer looks for. Now, they will look for your analytical and logical reasoning ability, for which you need to do a lot of thinking. So thinking means you need to do a lot of reading. So keeping yourself updated with the latest in your sphere, in your field of learning is very, very important. Keep yourself updated with what's latest in that. Don't just stop with what the books offer you. So analytical and logical reasoning will be a result of your ability to grasp in more, to take in more knowledge of that particular field that you are looking at. Now, problem solving ability, that is another very, very, very big plus point when you go for a job. It is very easy to point out problems. It's very easy to say that something is wrong, but you have to analyze, find the cause, and find ways to find remedial measures to solve the problem. Then your presentation and communication skills, how you present not just yourself, but at work. Your ideas, your creativity, everything has to be presented, and how you communicate. Now, communication skill is very, very important, because those who are able to speak and present themselves, their ideas, will be heard in a crowd. So that needs to be improved. Now, your creativity is the next one, where you have to think out of the box. That is very, very important, not the mundane, same old routine ideas, but you need to be more creative when you come up with some ideas at work. Organizational capability and time management. Time management, I think in the last 2 years, due to this COVID and all this pandemic, time management has gone out of the window, because everything is at home. So all of us are at leisure. So we just sign in, and there is no time management has gone haywire, is what I think has happened. But very soon that's going to be set right. I'm sure we're going to get back to the old normal, if I can say so. So time management is very, very important. Confidence and professionalism. So this is what I was telling you earlier. Whichever field that you are going to go in, you must be a professional in that, which means you need to know more about it. And numerical and verbal listening, depending on what you are working at. And finally, again, a very, very important skill that you need to develop is ability to think quickly under pressure. Do not give up. When you're under pressure, people tend to buckle in. Okay, so they're not able to think straight. They're not able to come up with measures to quickly solve the problem. So ability to think quickly under pressure is another very, very important skill that we need to think of. Now, what do we do before the interview? Before the day, so I start from the actual day of the interview. Later, I will be taking you through other steps too. So before the interview, make sure how to get there and how long it will take you to reach that place. So you must aim to reach there at least about 10 minutes earlier than the others. And this way you'll have time to sit, calm yourself, collect all your thoughts, to put yourself together before the interview begins. So that is very, very important. So again, I was talking about time management. Being on time is also of utmost importance. So you will have to be prepared, not just physically, but mentally to calm yourself and be well prepared. Look professional and well groomed. You cannot walk in casually for an interview, because remember, the first impression is the best impression. So you need to look professional, well groomed, and dress formally as is necessary for that particular job, whatever it calls for. Being invited to a face-to-face personal interview is in itself a success. But then that's just the beginning. It's only the first step of a long hiring process. Now, the main objective of attending an interview is to give out signals to your employers, give them signals of assurance that you are the right talent that they have been looking for. So how do we do that? First, ensure that your CV does not lie. Very, very important. Avoid exaggeration in your CV, especially if you're someone with a little bit of work experience. Make sure you only tell them what you've really been doing. Avoid exaggerating it, because at a later step, if you're given the same kind of situation and if you're not able to handle it, there you will fall, and then it's very difficult for you to build up their confidence in you again. So avoid exaggerating. Just let it be as is. Whatever you have experienced, whatever you have worked at, give it as you have faced them. Demonstrate that you have the right balance of skills, attitude, and the knowledge that is required for that particular job. Now, this I feel is very, very important, because if you have this right, then it's very easy for you to work from there. So the next question will be, now, who am I? Now, most of you will be freshers when you go in for a job, because you're still students. So first you need to know who you are. Analyze yourself, get yourself prepared to know about your strengths and weaknesses, so that you will be able to face an interview. So what is it that I need to know about myself? First, evaluate yourself. Self-analysis, that is one of the most important skills. It's very difficult to evaluate yourself, but then you'll have to take a step back and take a look at yourself. I'm not talking about your physical appearance. I'm talking about you as a person who is going to go for an interview. So take a look at yourself, analyze yourself, and then think, why did I choose this career? What are my goals? Where do I want to go from here? So if I'm going to go in this path, I need to know if I'm fit for it. So I need to know my strengths next. Now, when I talk about my strengths and when I'm listing them out, be very honest. Are these really my strengths? Do I really have these qualities? That is important. And then I list out the weaknesses. Again, let's be honest and accept us, as we are, and do not exaggerate again. So if it's a weakness, you accept it, because right now you're doing it only to yourself. So you need to be true to yourself. Then take a note of all the skills that you have. What are the skills? How have I equipped myself for this career? What are the skills that I possess? And what is it that is needed? What is needed and what you have are two different things. If you know what you need, then you will prepare yourself and equip yourself to possess the skills that are needed for that particular job or to follow that career. Then, what are your qualities? that are necessary for this particular job. Finally, evaluate how your degree and co-curricular activities will help you. Now, I have added in co-curricular activities here because a mere degree certificate alone is not sufficient for you to get a job. You may have a degree, but then your co-curricular activities will speak for you as a person. What are the activities that you have participated in or that you have taken on for yourself in order to prove your capabilities, your skills, your talents, your strengths, your weaknesses? So those are important, and that can be done here right now at the college level. Start building them because you can afford to take a chance here, try out things, and even if you fail, it doesn't matter because it's just among your friends. Okay, so equip yourself, try out things that you need to know, learn them, work on them, improve yourself, take help from your friends, your peers, your teachers. There are so many ways that you can improve on it, and then chisel yourself even before you step out into the world in order to go and attend an interview. So that is why I was very specific about adding co-curricular activities apart from your degree. Your co-curricular activities are as important as your degree is what I'm trying to say. Now, when you attend an interview, beware of body language. Body language is very, very important. Research has suggested that your non-verbal communication or body language makes up over 75% of your overall communication. You need not open your mouth. You need not speak with an American accent or a British accent or whatever accent that you need. All you have to do is sit there and people can study you. They are watching you, so your body will speak for itself. So remember, your body language is very, very important. Now, at the start of the interview, or for those interviewing you, a firm handshake. Of course, in this pandemic time, we don't do that. But then, a normal interview, that is just to show that you are prepared and you're confident. Now, during the interview, in fact, I would say not just an interview, anywhere for that matter, when you meet a person, when you talk to them, demonstrate good posture, sit up straight, rest your hands in your lap, and maintain eye contact. This eye contact, again, like I said, your eyes can speak volumes. It will reveal your fear, it will reveal your overconfidence, it will reveal your happiness, sadness, anything that you feel is revealed through your eyes. So maintain eye contact with your interviewers. This will demonstrate that you are interested and that you are alert during this interview. Now, sometimes we are confused. So what to do with your hands during a job interview? First one, there are 2 green ticks and there are 4 red marks which says 4 things that you cannot do. Now let's take a look at what you can do. Show your palms. This gesture indicates sincerity and for centuries has been linked to honesty and submission. Press your fingertips together. This display of confidence is often exhibited by self-assured politicians and executives. And what you should not do not hold your palms down. Now, this is a sign of dominance, and you should be careful to not shake hands with your palms downward. Do not conceal your hands. When your hands are in your lap or your pockets, it looks like you have something to hide. And do not tap your fingers. This behavior shows impatience, which is likely not the attitude you want to portray. Do not cross your arms. Now, this is a very defensive posture, and it's best to appear open and agreeable. So here are a few do's and don'ts to help you prepare better for your first face-to-face interview. What are the things that you can do? You can be flexible. When you're answering a question related to job responsibilities or a possible place of employment, you need to stress your willingness to be mobile. So here, By mobile, they mean being able to adapt or adopt to that environment and to be and to work amicably with the others as a team. So it will demonstrate that you have the ability to adjust with any environment and take on challenges, and that you're not afraid of them. You will be able to overcome any kind of obstacles if you're able to adapt to that environment. So do demonstrate your learning. Now here, in the CV, I told you, give exactly what you have done. But during an interview, when suppose you are asked about some particular case or issue that you have handled and that you have mentioned in the CV, they will ask you to explain or talk about it. So if you have really faced that situation and if you've been honest, it will be easy for you to demonstrate your learning, and they might ask you to explain in detail about your internship experiences. So provide examples to show how you have solved or dealt with a difficult situation in the past. So that is why I kept saying, be honest when you prepare your CV, and give in nothing but the truth. Use the opportunity to give more details about yourself, what you could not explain in the CV. There you are limited because it's a written copy, but here you have the opportunity to demonstrate what you have learned and how you have overcome the situation. So give more details about yourself here. It is not wrong to see more elaborate so that the interviewer can gauge your potential and develop a better understanding about your competency. So this will be an opportunity to display your knowledge, your skill, your talent, and how you have overcome certain situations. Some more here, do your homework. Hiring managers like to test the candidate's knowledge about the organization they have applied for. So make sure to check their official website and make a genuine attempt to learn about the company's business operations prior to the interview, so that you know what you're walking into and you know what you're getting into, and you will be able to understand their language. That is, what I mean by language is not the I'm not talking about English or any other language. I'm talking about their company's language, their terms, their working conditions, their environment, the environment where you'll be working in. So make sure to check the website and learn about the company's business operations. Then access their official brand page on social media to find out basic company information and latest updates. Find out about the history, the mission, the leadership, etc. This will show the interviewer that you have taken the interview very, very seriously and that you are well prepared to face the interview. One more thing here is ask how you can succeed in the job. Now, for interviewers, the best thing during a face-to-face interview is to hear interesting questions from the candidates. Now, you might wonder, now, can I ask them questions? I'll come to that a little later, but you can ask questions. So do your research well. Talk to the employees in the company about the particular role on offer, ensuring that you have meaningful queries at the end of the interview session. Again, when I say you can ask questions, remember that your question should be valid, sensible, and things that you really need to know. And things that you not find on the website or on the social media. So this will prove that you are keenly interested in knowing the company better. Now, just as we have do's, there are some don'ts that we need to follow when we go for an interview. Now, don't go overboard. Hiring managers are looking for passionate employees who are willing to dedicate themselves to a particular job role. Then they are not interested in someone who desperately wants to land the job. Anything they say, yes. Anything they say, okay. That's not how it's going to be. You're not going to revolt to rebel there and say no for everything, but then they must know that you're really interested and that you're keen in taking up the job, and not that you are desperate. You may be desperate, but you don't reveal it, is what I'm trying to say. Now, do not exaggerate or deviate when you are answering questions. Stick to the question, stick to the point, and give only what is asked or expected. So sound natural and unrehearsed and respond thoughtfully. Think a minute before you answer the question. There's no harm done. Now, avoid praising the interviewer's physical appearance, referring to other known employees, unless you are specifically asked for it. Don't ask personal questions, do not gossip, and you are not to make sensational or sexist comments. You do not know the other person's thoughts. So let's not rub them on the wrong side. Therefore, let's avoid controversial remarks or comments. Now, these are likely to be viewed as highly irrelevant talk in a job interview, and thus may lead to your being judged as being unprofessional. So you'll have to watch out for every word that you speak during an interview. Some more things that you need to avoid. Avoid extreme openness and flexibility to adapt, or else the interviewer might see you as an over anxious or incompetent candidate. Refrain from making caustic or evaluative statements about people, processes, or technology in the companies that you have interned with or had worked at before, coming for this interview. So do not reveal your biases to the interviewer. Like I said, be careful about what you say. Do not ever badmouth your last boss or someone else in your internship or past companies or anyone else in the past that you have come across. It is very, very unethical, and that will send a negative signal that you may be difficult to manage when you join the company. So don't ever badmouth or speak ill of anyone at any time during the interview. Now, how do I answer questions? So I know how to prepare. I need to be on time. I need to be well groomed. I know how to speak. Now, how do I answer questions? First, you have to listen to the whole question. Don't jump the gun as soon as they start the question, because this is not a classroom where we put up our hands and say, yes, ma'am, I think I know that. So just wait, hold on, take in the whole question, grasp the meaning. So don't start answering questions in your mind before they are finished. You don't even have to utter the word. Don't even start answering it in your mind before they finish the question. Take a few moments to think about your answer. It's fine to ask for clarification if you don't understand the question. When you answer, ensure your tone and language convey your enthusiasm. Like I said, let the question sink in, get yourself prepared, and give only what is asked for. Now, always answer honestly. If you've been honest in your application, you are there because the employer believes you may be suitable for the job. Therefore, always be honest. Now, how do I answer questions again in continuation with the earlier slide? First, learn to answer in parts. What you did before, what are you doing now, and what you intend to do in the future. Now, this sounds like an essay, but you have to answer very briefly. Be very, very brief, because this is an interview. So your past experience, or if you have changed fields, what are you doing now? Or if your interests have changed, what are they now? And why have you done so? And what you intend to do in the future. So how should you answer? First, start with a greeting. Then give some details, not all the details, give some details about yourself, your name, where you are from, your family, and where you live now. Then give details of your educational qualifications, where you studied, name of the college, university, etc. And then talk about your interests and hobbies if you are a fresher, your interest in this area, why you chose this area of study, why you wish to come work in this field, etc. But if you're experienced, if you worked elsewhere before, then talk about your work experience. Then briefly talk about the goals in life, what you intend to do, where you intend to travel from this onwards. Now, Listen. Now, when I say listen, I'm not talking only about the interview, anywhere for that matter. One of the most important skill, or I call it a skill because some people don't listen. They hear, they don't listen. So you need to listen very, very carefully, especially during an interview. Now, one of the most crucial interview tips is listen from the very beginning of the interview. Your interviewer is giving you information either directly or indirectly. So if you're not hearing it, you're missing a major opportunity. So listen carefully, be attentive, and then you'll be able to go in the right path. Now, good communication skills include listening and letting the person know you heard what was said. Observe your interviewer and match that style and pace. So listen and then answer. Don't be in a hurry. Even if you are very confident, even if you know that field very well, it does not matter. Just wait patiently, listen to the question, and then let them know that you are well prepared. So I was talking earlier about, can I ask questions when I attend an interview? Now, can I ask questions? When asked if they have any questions, most candidates who are attending the interview answered no. Now, no is a wrong answer. Part of knowing how to attend an interview is being ready to ask questions that demonstrate an interest in what goes on in the company. Again, asking questions also gives you the opportunity to find out if this is the right place for you. But what kind of questions can I ask? The best questions come from listening to what you are asked during the interview and asking for additional information about that. Only what is needed for you. So suppose there is a question, a very, very common question, most of them, just to get the feel of the candidate, their attitude. The interviewer will say, talk about yourself. The most dreaded question for some. Some people do not know where to start, where to stop. So why is this question being asked? In this case, the interviewer is looking to discover what about you would make a good fit for the job you're applying for and how you would work within the business. So in answer to this question, keep your answers brief and to the point. Now remember, for example, you might say something like, I'm a person who's driven with a passion for this, and I have proven all this in my previous role. You can see that in my resume. You can see how determined I was and how I have got a promotion twice, even the very first year that I took up this job. You may then go on to talk about your personal experiences within your career and private life. But then remember, again, this should not be an exaggeration. It has to be nothing but the truth. Now, again, another question. This is again a very tricky question, just to make you speak for yourself and to see whether you know yourself. What is your main weakness? Now, this is a very, very popular question that most of the interviewers ask, and it's also a very dreaded question. But remember, you have to approach this question with caution. Never say no weaknesses. There is no man on earth who is without a weakness. So never say no weaknesses. Instead, demonstrate how you overcome your weakness. You'll have to handle this situation by minimizing your weaknesses. I'm not saying hide them. I'm saying minimize your weaknesses, but then emphasize on your strengths. Talk about things that you are strong at, but stay away from personal qualities that is not required for this. You must concentrate only on your professional traits. For example, you could say, I'm always working on improving my communication skills, and I need to be a more effective presenter. So maybe I have joined the Toastmasters Club, which is very, very helpful for me, which helps me to speak. and things like that. But be honest. So what are some of the strengths and weaknesses? When I say strengths, I'm talking about leadership skills. Now, being a leader is not just being able to think far above the others, which is very important for a leader, but then being able to transfer that, share that knowledge with your team, delegating responsibilities and getting them all to fulfill that, whatever you reach the goal that you have set. So that is important in leadership skills. So you'll have to think ahead, you'll have to plan ahead, and you need to distribute, delegate, and make sure that it is being done. Monitor the whole thing. Then problem solving ability. I've already spoken about this earlier, being able to solve a problem. That is also one of the leadership qualities that one looks for. Communicative skills. You should be able to, transfer. You should be able to share what you have thought of with your team, for which you need to have good communicative skills. And then you should be able to listen. I was talking about that earlier also. You have to listen to what the problems are from your team and then communicate the solutions or come up with a solution along with the team. Then analytical skills. We have already talked about that in detail, self-analysis. Here it will be analytical skills required for that particular job. Then determination to carry it to the end. Reaching the goal is as important as your path to it. So determination, never give up in any kind of situation. Remember, you can and you will do it. Creativity, think out of the box is again most important. Enthusiasm, be happy with what you do. Whether you like it or not, you're there in that job. So you might as well put in some enthusiasm and that'll keep you going. It'll give you great zeal to carry out what you intend to do. Organized style, always. This always works very, very well. Success is yours if you're able to organize. Have plan A. With some alterations, you need plan B, plan C also, if it is needed. But then you need to be organized. You need to have a storyboard, or you need to have a proper plan and a structure, a blueprint, a matrix, whatever you want to call it. Have that prepared even as you begin. This is where I begin. This is where I need to go. So what will happen in between? If I have that structured, then it will be easy to make changes here and there, but finally I will be able to reach in a proper shape. So organized style is very, very important. Teamwork, as I mentioned this when I was talking about leadership skills. Being able to work as a team calls for a lot of patience, understanding, tolerance, enthusiasm, determination. I think I can go back to your strengths again. So that is important. Optimistic approach. I will be able to complete this project. There might be a few hiccups on the way, but then I will be able to reach it. If you can get yourself to work on these strengths, I'm sure you will be able to reach. See, remember, you're strong only when you know what your weaknesses are. You are beautiful when you're able to appreciate your flaws, and you're wise when you learn from your mistakes. So what are the weaknesses that some of us possess? Sometimes we are too focused on details, every small thing. Sometimes very difficult to do that when you are in a very big project or when there are too many things going on. I'm not saying work in a haphazard manner, but then being too focused on every small detail can be tiring at times. So don't be too focused on that. And then don't take on too many tasks at the same time in the name of multitasking. You can multitask, but then remember, you have to give equal attention to all the tasks that you are taking on. So don't take on more than you can chew. Be very, very careful about that. You must know your limits. If you're able to know your limits, then you know what you can do and what you cannot do. Don't challenge yourself just to impress others. That will not work at times. Then lack of experience is a weakness. So how do I gain experience? Internships from your peers, talk to others who've already gone through it. Lack of confidence. Believe in yourself, which is most important. If you don't do it, nobody is going to. Procrastination. Never put off things. Please do them then and there. Stitch in time saves 9. We've done that. Disorganized. I've already talked about why you need to be organized, so I'm sure you'll understand this. Conventional. Learn to think differently. You have to keep changing. Change is the only thing that is constant. So we need to keep changing, learning, adapting, adopting as and when required according to the needs of the job. Don't be selfish or self-centered, and don't be impatient. That will never ever help. Now, even before I come to this slide, sometimes when you're asked questions and you're not able to answer, it's all right if you just calm down, take a deep breath, take a minute or two, and then give the answer. And even if you do not know, you do not bluntly say, I don't know. Instead, you can try at least to clarify. Maybe you can ask for more clarification, ask them to repeat the question, try to understand and present what little you know. You're just being honest. But if you really don't know the answer, then maybe you can tell them, I'll find out. Get back to them straight after the interview. You can tell them that I do not know, sir, but I think I can find out. I will learn. I'm a good learner. So that will again create a good impression about you. So now, ending the interview. Now, ending the interview should be on a positive note. Usually, employers will tell you what the next steps are in the selection process. If not, ask what the next steps are and how you will be notified. Now, at the end of the interview, restate your interest in and the suitability for the role. Smile and thank the interviewers for seeing you. Now, I just thought that before we come to the end, I would like to leave a few questions that you need to mull on, think about, because I was talking about self-analysis. And this is something that I came across, and I thought it's a good thing to analyze yourself. So maybe these questions will help you, but then remember, you have to be very, very honest, because you're not going to share this with anybody else. You're just going to tell yourself, and unless you accept yourself as you are, there is no place for improvement, there's no place for progress. So the first thing is, one thing I like about myself. I like about myself, not what the others think of me, but what I like about myself. One thing others like about me. Now here we're talking about qualities. So we're not talking about the physical appearance and things like that. We're talking about you as a person. One thing I do very well. Fourth, I am glad that, something that you're very happy that you possess. One thing that I have overcome. See, when I say I'm glad that, maybe it is something already inherent in you, and you're lucky to have that with you, or how you develop that maybe. One thing that I have overcome, maybe a weakness or a fear. One goal that I'm presently working on, because at different phases in life, you'll be working on different goals. So one goal that I'm presently working on, I think I have the guts to. Now again, be careful here. We're not playing truth or dare. We're not asking you to do something which is very daring. But one thing I have the guts to. One way I successfully control my emotion, very, very needed quality, to be able to control my, whatever that emotion may be. A compliment that has been paid to me recently was a value that I try hard to practice. I want to, gain mastery over it. My biggest problem is, if you're able to answer that honestly, You will work towards overcoming that problem. I'm quite concerned about. I don't have the skills in order to. We're talking about skills here. The person I have most trouble is. You need to identify your trouble here in the form of a person and see how to handle that person. The most frequent negative feeling, followed by the next question, I feel that way when something happens, something triggers that negative feeling. You need to do away with that because that's not going to help. Life would be better if. I am afraid to. This 18th question is also, it's very, very important. You must be ready to face your fear. Once you are ready to face that fear, then fear will fear you. I wish I. And then finally, if I could change just one thing in myself, it could be, what will that be? So remember, you will be able to succeed if you are well prepared. The social media is there, think outside the box is there, and then you will be able to run towards victory. And there will be so many things that will follow you too. So remember, your fate is in your hands, not in the hands of the interviewer. This is a very important thought that I want to leave you with. So good luck in any interview that you are going to face, and you will definitely succeed. So with that, I come to the end of the presentation. If there are any questions that any of you would like to ask, I'm ready to answer them.
Thank you, ma'am. So just as ma'am said, you can put up your questions in the chat box so that ma'am will answer those questions.
Thank you, Manasa. Okay, looks like there are no questions here. Okay, maybe they need time to think it over. Thank you, Saranya. She says it was informative and clear. So maybe that's why there aren't any questions, hopefully. So I would like to thank the management, the principal, the deans, and Vidyaraj College again for having invited me to this webinar. And I hope it has been useful to you as much as a pleasure for me to present it. Thank you, Sandhya Lakshmi.
Ma'am, we'll have a short vote of thanks now, ma'am.
Sure.
So now we come to the final segment of today's webinar. It gives me immense pleasure to be presenting vote of thanks on behalf of Alumni Connectly. As it is always said, feeling gratitude and not expressing it, it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. In order to fulfill the same, I would like to thank our chief guest, Mrs. Uma Parvati ma'am, for her gracious presence. It was indeed a great privilege to have you as our chief guest and get insights on the most important topic in today's world. Because of your prolific lecture, today's webinar was very informative and knowledgeable, ma'am. The topic of soft skills required for a job interview helped us in learning the right approach and skills required for cracking a job interview. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our principal, S. Kodai ma'am, Punidavati ma'am, Dean of Students Aided, Anusha ma'am, Dean of Students Self-Supporting, and the management of our college for their constant support, encouragement, and guidance. Last but not the least, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to my fellow students who participated and made this webinar a successful one. Thank you.
Thank you.